Lions get a good injury update. I know it's the off season, but there is started to be some workout stuff happening at Allen Park, and some of the players are coming back and talking about kind of some of the offseason stuff and what they did. And one of those guys was Taylor Decker. Now we kind of forget about Taylor Decker and his injuries. A lot's made of Frank's for good reason. He's got a lot of foot, shoulder, knee things going on, and we hope Frank Ragnow is good to go. And he says that he should be fine and ready to go for the 2024 season. But Decker is a guy that we may not realize. And so I want to show you this first, and then we'll get into PFF showing some underrated draft prospects that the Lions probably have their eye on, and it's exciting. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed to us and you've watched a few of our videos, we'd love if you would do that. We're trying to get to 20,000 subs. I don't really know what it does for you other than just kind of looks cool. So we would love that. We would just love to legitimize ourselves. So like, yeah, that's 20,000 subs. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And plus the NFL draft's coming up, which we're going to be adding a ton of new players. Brad Holmes is going to do his thing. So make sure you subscribe. Okay. Decker underwent a deltoid. I'm no doctor, but let's just work through this. A deltoid repair and with a tendon transfer, and had multiple bone spurs removed from his foot and ankle shortly after the 2023 season. In 2022, he talked about foot problems he dealt with all throughout his career. I kind of knew that, but kind of didn't, because he misses games. And it's like, man, he said Tuesday he has had stress fractures in his foot, both vertically and horizontally, since 2014. And his problems were amplified by a high ankle sprain he suffered last year in the season opening win against the Kansas City Chiefs. I remember that. It's like, dude, he was out right away, right? Decker's just kind of an in and out, mostly in, but like out of the lineup. And it's like, gosh, like, we need you, man. So he says, it's gotten progressively worse. And it's at the point where I injured the ankle and it was putting more stress on my foot and the arch because the deltoid was torn. So they went in there, they did their special CT scan. They did it. We took it out. There's a bone. There's all this stuff. And basically he said, I came away feeling feel the best I've felt basically in the last, I think he said 3 years. So since, he had the 2022, we talked about it, but he feels great. And, what are they going to say this time of year? Like, I feel terrible, but he's already good to go. And he's talking about working out, off-season workouts, going to be good for training camp, no problems. All things are good. So that's huge. I mean, Decker, we just kind of forget about this dude. Not forget about him, but it's just like, oh, yep, that's our left tackle. It's like, man, he's battling injuries. These dudes are just warriors, man. And so love it. Love seeing it. He was a first round pick in 2016. He'll be 31 in August and has been the starting left tackle for the past 8 seasons. He's entering the final year of his contract and said he and the team have had entry level conversations about a deal. That's another thing. That absolutely get a deal done. He's 31. He doesn't want to go anywhere. He's been here. He loves the turnaround. Just make it all good. But look at who's coming up here. Goff needs an extension. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Penei Sewell's going to need one. Aleem McNeil. I mean, then it gets right into Hutch and and then after that it's Sam Laporta. I mean, all these guys are just going to get paid. So that's crazy. So that's the good news. Decker, he's good. He's back. He's all in. Left tackle. Love it. Next one. PFF put out, we're going to switch gears here to the 5 most underrated draft prospects. So this is where Brad Holmes just thrives, and I can't wait to see what he does here. So perfect example, Troy Franklin out of Oregon. In some areas, he's the 8th best wide receiver. Okay. So what they did is they compared him to Brian Thomas Jr., who's the 4th best in the draft, and kind of after the big dogs of Marvin Harrison and Malik Neighbors comes Brian Thomas Jr., and everyone's kind of like, oh man, that'd be the guy. End of the first round for the Lions. But you've got, and this is where Brad Holmes is so good. You got Troy Franklin, and I don't know, Franklin's pretty good. So I mean, he might be a second rounder. I don't think he's going to be a 5th round steal, right? That's not the case. But they go on to make the point here that he's basically got the same numbers, if not a little bit better than Brian Thomas Jr. And again, he's 8th. He's the 8th best wide receiver. He's 21 spots lower on the overall consensus board, puts him into the second round. And so, love that one. Troy Franklin, Blake Corum. Don't really need a running back, but basically saying Blake Corum from 2022, had he come out, he was just right there with Bijan Robinson. Now this year he didn't have as good of a year, didn't look as good just because Michigan was just pounding the rock and just feeding it to him over and over and over and over, and it didn't matter who was in the box. So he was getting 2 yards, 3 yards, 5 yards. So just overall his yards per carry and everything was down a little bit. But Blake Corum's just going to be a steal whoever gets him. Okay. Jermaine Burton. Another one. This guy, as a receiver, he does everything well. Athleticism, nuance to his game. He's got threat to all levels. He has an overwhelming production of the receivers in the class, but he's been largely been down to opportunity, which may find itself affected by his relationship with coaches in multiple college programs. Here's a guy that's just like, give this guy a chance. He hasn't had the opportunity, and he's not putting out the production that the other wide receivers are, but absolute stud. Love it. Offensive tackle out of Houston, Patrick Paul. I mean, right? You can go on and on and on. And that's why there's teams that consistently draft in the later parts of the first round, right? And there's teams that consistently draft in the beginning of the draft. Lions are one of those because it doesn't matter where you draft. Now you need draft picks and you want to have like a first rounder and a second round, but there's good players all over, and Brad Holmes is going to find those, and that's what's the difference in the Lions turnaround. They've built through the draft so well. 3 years has just flown by, 3 drafts, and now Brad Holmes enters his 4th one. I mean, remember last year, it's like Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, Brian Branch. I mean, just one after another. Incredible. So Jack Campbell, who's going to have a breakout year. That's kind of my prediction for he's my breakout player. Jack Campbell's just figured it out, plays mean, plays strong, and that first to second year jump for him is going to be absolutely huge. I mean, he got right in and basically passes Derek Barnes on the depth chart. Day one, he steps in there. So I would love to see Derek Barnes, of course, continue to get better, but come on, Jack Campbell all day. So again, we're going live for the draft. All day on that, or all first round. Don't know about second and third round what we're going to be doing, but just make sure you join us. A lot of fun, and subscribe to the channel because this next couple of weeks are going to be crazy, and we'll see all of you on the next one.